Hey everyone, welcome back to Retro Reel Recaps. Today, we're talking about the movie First Night, a romantic adventure that mixes action, love, and betrayal in a fresh take on the King Arthur legend. Let's jump right into the story. The movie takes place a long time ago in Britain. After winning many wars, King Arthur now rules Camelot with peace and justice as his main goals. He also wants to get married. But there's a problem. Maleagant, a former knight of the Round Table, is hungry for power and wants the throne for himself. We're introduced to Lancelot, a skilled swordsman who travels from village to village. He's really good with a sword, but what drives him is his competitive spirit. He keeps looking for someone who can beat him in a fight, but so far, no one has. One day, Lancelot arrives in a small village and meets a young man named Mark, who accepts his sword fighting challenge. The two have an intense battle. Mark fights bravely, but in the end, Lancelot wins. Impressed by Mark's courage, Lancelot promises to teach him sword skills one day. Then, he leaves the village. But soon after Lancelot leaves, trouble comes to the village. Maleagant's soldiers attack, burning houses, hurting people, and stealing everything. Turns out Maleagant's hideout is nearby, and he wants to take over the village, even though it belongs to Lady Guinevere of Lyonesse. Mark, the same guy who fought Lancelot, quickly hides the women and children in a basement to protect them. But the soldiers set the house on fire, and the people inside start suffocating from the smoke. They have to open the basement door to escape, but when they do, Maleagant himself shows up and kills the person who opened it. Maleagant accuses the villagers of crossing into his land and killing his soldiers, but this is a complete lie. He just wants an excuse to burn the village and take control. After the attack, Mark and the villagers go to their ruler, Lady Guinevere, and tell her everything. Guinevere is not just beautiful but also kind and strong. She's upset because this isn't the first time Maleagant has done something like this. Recently, Guinevere's father passed away, and now she rules Lyonesse alone. She's afraid Maleagant will soon target her kingdom next. Her wise minister, who's like a father to her, advises her to accept King Arthur's marriage proposal. This way, her land will be protected by Camelot's power. Following this advice, Guinevere prepares to leave for Camelot, escorted by King Arthur's soldiers. As Guinevere and her escorts travel through the forest, they spot a fallen tree. Something feels wrong. Before they can react, Maleagant's soldiers jump out from hiding and attack. King Arthur's knights fight bravely and manage to push back the first group of attackers. Everyone breathes a sigh of relief, but the danger isn't over yet. This was just the first wave. Soon, an even bigger group of Maleagant's soldiers arrives, this time on horses. They attack from the side where the guards aren't expecting. There are too many of them, but Arthur's men keep fighting bravely. It's complete chaos. In all the fighting, one of Maleagant's men jumps onto Guinevere's carriage and drives it off the road into the forest. Guinevere quickly tells her two servant girls to jump out for safety. One maid jumps and hides in the bushes. As the carriage races away, more of Maleagant's horsemen chase after it. Guinevere tells her second maid to jump, but the girl is too scared, until one of the bad soldiers jumps onto the carriage roof. Then the maid jumps out in fear. Now Guinevere shows how clever she is. She stands by the carriage door, and when a soldier comes close, she grabs him and throws him right off the moving carriage. Then she jumps out herself and runs into the woods to hide. But the soldiers know she can't have gone far. They start searching the area carefully. As they get closer to her hiding spot, Guinevere has to run again. But this time they see her. Just when things look worst, who appears? Lancelot. He quickly hides Guinevere in a safe place, then fights all the soldiers with his amazing sword skills. Guinevere watches in amazement as Lancelot defeats every single attacker. After the fight, Guinevere thanks Lancelot and offers him gold as a reward. But Lancelot doesn't want money. Instead, struck by her beauty, he confesses his love for her right away. Guinevere is shocked and angry. She slaps him for being so forward. Lancelot, still frustrated, tells her again how much he loves and desires her. But Guinevere steps back, reminding him firmly, "I'm about to marry King Arthur. That's why I rejected you." Lancelot, respecting her choice, promises he'll never try to be intimate with her unless she asks him first. Soon after, her soldiers arrive and she leaves for Camelot. At Camelot, King Arthur himself rides out to greet his future queen. He gives her a grand welcome. She walks through a path of torches, and Arthur shows her the beauty of his kingdom from a high viewpoint. When they finally enter Camelot City, the people cheer for Guinevere. showering her with flower petals. It's a joyful, magical moment, but trouble is never far away. The next day, we see a wild mare running loose, with its owner chasing helplessly. Lancelot, being an expert horseman, calms the horse and returns it. Grateful, the owner tells him about the upcoming royal wedding in Camelot, Arthur and Guinevere. Hearing this, Lancelot decides to go to Camelot himself. Camelot is alive with celebrations, music, laughter, and wedding preparations everywhere. As part of the fun, a gauntlet arcade game is set up. The announcer says whoever completes the gauntlet arcade game gets a kiss from Lady Guinevere. But it's nearly impossible, no one has ever done it before. Lancelot, never one to back down, accepts the challenge. Without any protective gear, he dashes through the arcade using his speed and skill and finishes it in record time. Everyone is shocked, including Guinevere. Lancelot walks up to her, and remembering his promise, whispers if he can kiss her. Guinevere says no. Lancelot, keeping his word, replies, "I would never dare kiss a lady who has only one heart to lose." Instead, he kisses her hand, a moment that leaves Arthur relieved and the crowd cheering. King Arthur, impressed by Lancelot's bravery and honor, invites him to his court. There, he shows him the Round Table, a symbol of equality, brotherhood, and service. Lancelot listens carefully, respecting Arthur's noble ideals. The next day, King Arthur sits with his knights at the Round Table. Guinevere is there too, and the knights playfully tease Arthur about his upcoming marriage. But suddenly, Maleagant arrives. Everyone grabs their swords, but Arthur stops them, saying he invited Maleagant. Maleagant then tells Guinevere, "Since your father died, your kingdom Lyonesse has fallen into chaos. Let me protect it for you." Guinevere refuses immediately. King Arthur stands firm, saying, "If there's to be war, I will fight it." His knights back him up, making Maleagant furious. He storms out, threatening them all before he leaves. That night, Maleagant makes his move. He sends a fake villager who tricks Guinevere into getting into a boat. Lancelot sees this happen. Without wasting a second, he jumps into the water and grabs the rope pulling the boat. A soldier spots him and forces him to let go, but Lancelot has already followed them far enough. On the other side of the river, Guinevere is dragged out of the boat and taken toward Maleagant's hideout. But Guinevere is smart. She knows Lancelot is chasing them. So she tears pieces of her dress and drops them along the way, leaving a trail for Lancelot to follow. Back in Camelot, Arthur is heartbroken over Guinevere's kidnapping. He prepares his army to rescue her, but he knows Maleagant has the upper hand. With Guinevere as a hostage, Maleagant can force Arthur to agree to anything. Maleagant lives in an old fortress hidden in the hills. When he sees pieces of Guinevere's torn dress, he realizes she left a trail. Furious, he hits his soldier for failing to notice. Then he makes Guinevere stand in a tiny place next to a deep well, making sure she can't escape. The next morning, Lancelot arrives at Maleagant's fortress. Knowing he's unarmed, he plays it smart. He surrenders immediately, pretending to be Arthur's messenger. "The king sent me with a message," he says. "But first I need to see that Guinevere is safe." The soldiers take him to her. Then Lancelot strikes. He kills the guards, frees Guinevere, and they escape through hidden waterways and drains. On their way back, it starts raining. They take a short break and Lancelot gives Guinevere rainwater using tree leaves. Then he opens up about his past. "When I was 10, another tribe burned my parents alive. Since then, I've been wandering, with no home." Hearing his heartbreaking story, Guinevere's heart aches for him. She already has feelings for Lancelot, but she's been suppressing them because she's promised to Arthur. Yet, in this moment, her heart softens even more. After rescuing Guinevere, Lancelot brings her back to Camelot. King Arthur is so happy that he offers Lancelot a place as a knight, the spot left empty by Maleagant. Some knights try to object, but Arthur won't change his mind. Lancelot accepts, and his knighting ceremony is set for the next day. But Guinevere is not happy. She's starting to feel too much for Lancelot. She worries that if he stays, her heart will pull her toward him even more. That night, she visits Lancelot secretly and begs him to leave, but Lancelot refuses. The next day, Lancelot officially becomes a knight, swearing loyalty to Arthur and the Round Table, brother to brother, yours life and death. Soon after, Arthur and Guinevere marry. The palace is full of celebration, but Lancelot stands, heartbroken. He knows he can't do anything. Guinevere is now the queen. The next day, a wounded man from Guinevere's village arrives with terrible news. Maleagant has attacked and burned Lyonesse. Shocked, Arthur and Guinevere immediately plan a rescue mission. Arthur and Lancelot ride out with the entire army. At night they pretend to set up camp, but it's a trap. Arthur's real army hides in the jungle, waiting for Maleagant's forces. When Maleagant's soldiers attack the empty camp, they fall right into Arthur's plan. A huge battle begins, swords clash, men fight, and the battlefield is chaos. Lancelot fights like a man with nothing to lose. His speed, skill, and bravery help turn the tide. Soon, Maleagant's army runs away, and Arthur's side wins. The other knights now respect Lancelot for his incredible courage. After the battle, they rush to Lyonesse and free the captured villagers. Guinevere is overjoyed to see her people safe. The villagers cheer for Arthur and Lancelot, thanking them. But later, Lancelot walks away alone and breaks down in tears, remembering how his own family died long ago. Then they all return to Camelot. A few days later, Lancelot visits Guinevere in her chambers. She smiles at him, her heart full of love and admiration. But Lancelot has come to say goodbye. "I'm leaving for a place where we won't meet again." Guinevere is shocked and asks why. He explains, "Your life is here with Arthur, and mine must be somewhere else." Overwhelmed with emotion, because she truly loves him, Guinevere looks into his eyes. Then they embrace in a final, heartbreaking hug. Just as Lancelot and Guinevere share their emotional goodbye, King Arthur and one of his knights walk in and see them. Arthur is heartbroken and furious. Now that Guinevere is his wife, he believes both of them have betrayed him. Guinevere goes to King Arthur and tells him this wasn't supposed to happen. But Arthur won't listen. In his anger, he calls a court assembly to decide what to do. In front of the entire court, Lancelot speaks up, "This was all my fault. Guinevere is innocent. Punish me, not her." Arthur feels ashamed for doubting his queen. But before he can say anything, disaster strikes. Maleagant's soldiers ambush the court, capturing everyone. Maleagant walks in, smug and cruel, and demands Arthur kneel before him. Arthur, with no pride left, gets on one knee, but then suddenly shouts, "Fight to your last breath!" Enraged, Maleagant orders his archers to shoot. Arthur is struck by arrows and collapses. His soldiers carry him to safety as all of Camelot erupts into battle. Lancelot charges into the fight, sword in hand. Maleagant's men set Camelot on fire, but Lancelot cuts them down one by one. Finally, he faces Maleagant himself. Maleagant is a fierce fighter, swinging wildly at Lancelot. But Lancelot refuses to back down, taking hit after hit. Then, with a quick move, Lancelot disarms Maleagant, and with one final strike, kills him for good. With their leader dead, Maleagant's army falls apart, and Camelot is saved. Lancelot rushes to Arthur's side, swearing his loyalty once more. Weak and dying, Arthur smiles at Lancelot and Guinevere. "Stay together. You will be the new king and queen of Camelot." The kingdom mourns as their great king passes away. A royal funeral is held for Arthur at sea. His knights salute him one last time as the waves carry him away, ending the film on a powerful, emotional note. And that's it for First Night. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more movie breakdowns, and share with friends who love epic tales. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.